So you're thinking of moving right here to Houston, Texas, but before you do, you really want to understand what is the weather really like here in Houston, Texas. Is it always hot? Is it always humid? Am I always gonna have to be inside? Or how much is my electric bill really gonna be from keeping the air conditioner on all summer long? And we're gonna talk about all those things in today's video. I've lived here in the Houston area for almost all of my life, and I've traveled all around the world, and I will not hold back in today's video in telling you the truth about what it's actually like to live through the different seasons of Houston weather. So let's get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about the weather here in Houston, Texas, or anything about moving to Houston, Texas, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, tap that bell for notifications. That way you can be the first to know about everything that's going on right here in Houston, Texas. Now, my name is Ferris and my team, we get calls and texts and emails every single day from people that are just like you, that are watching videos online, trying to figure out the weather in Houston, trying to figure out if Houston's the right spot for them. So if that's you and you're looking to move to Houston in the next day or week or even month or year, go ahead and give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. That way our team can help you make a smooth move right here to Houston, Texas. Now, today we're gonna be talking about the weather, and there's really no better time to talk about the weather than mid-June here in Texas. This weekend, it's projected to hit 100-degree Fahrenheit temperatures throughout the weekend here in Houston, and that is hot. And on top of the heat, you've got humidity. And so I really thought you could probably use a local telling you exactly what it's like to live here all year long, because we talk to different clients that come from different places, and depending on where you're coming from and what you're used to, the weather here actually isn't that bad. We actually get 4 seasons here in Texas. Now, some of them are a little bit longer than others, but overall, we really do get all 4 seasons. And so if you're coming from a place like California where it's sunny and 72 all the time, low humidity, ocean views, Texas doesn't offer that here, okay? That's not what you're signing up for when you move to Texas. And if you're coming from New York, where it's blistering cold and you can't wait to have a 65-degree day in January, then Texas might be the perfect place for you. So here in the Houston area, they actually consider Houston to be a tropical climate. Now, when you look around at all the pine trees, they're not replaced with palm trees. It doesn't feel tropical as far as the scenery goes, but as far as the climate goes, I think because it's a little bit more humid, we're within an hour and a half of the Gulf Coast, and it gets hot here, it's considered a tropical climate. And so I want to pull up a chart real quick and kind of walk you through the different months here in Texas and describe them the way that I would describe it to anybody that I was talking to. And so we'll start in January. January is typically pretty cold here in Texas. It says right here that the average high is 61.5 degrees. So it really can be nice in January, but you can also see the average low of 41. And so depending on where you're coming from, that might be a very cold winter for you, or it might be a very light winter for you. And so January, February are cold. They're really the colder months here. December, there are still Christmases here in the Houston area where it's 75, 80 degrees on Christmas Day, which can be kind of a bummer if you're wanting a white Christmas. Rarely does it snow here. But yeah, January, February, gonna be colder months. That's definitely what we would consider the winter. And even March can be colder, but it takes a quick turn in March. And so March and April are your sweet spot spring months here. You're still gonna have cold fronts that keep the temperatures low all the way into May, but you're gonna have, week-long spurts of sunny and 72. That really is like that kind of drier, sunny California weather. And so as you work your way over here into May, that's where it gets a little bit bipolar. You're gonna have some days that are hot, and then even this year in late May, we had a cold front come through, and I wanna say it was in the high 50s in the morning in late May, which is very rare, but it does happen. And so from living here my whole life, I would say that the seasons here always catch me off guard. For some reason in my mind, the actual temperatures don't line up with what I would think the seasons would be here. And what I mean by that is, I would think it would be hot here in May, and it really doesn't start to get hot here until June. Now, June just picked up at the time we're filming this video, and don't get me wrong, it's hot, and it comes on quickly. And so June, July, and August, school's gonna be out here in the Houston area, and it's hot. The pools open up, which is a fantastic opportunity to cool off. But if you've got kids like I do, you got activities you're trying to plan for them, really you're gonna do those in early morning or late afternoon, evening, and the trees here are really gonna come in handy. So the trees in the Houston area really get thick and lush and green in April, which is great because it's preparing for that very hot June, July, and August. And so if you live in a suburb that has a lot of tree cover, like the Woodlands or some of the other neighborhoods throughout the Houston area, the trees are really gonna actually help cool it off. They have a serious cooling effect. And so if you're in a newer neighborhood that doesn't have a ton of trees, it is gonna get hotter. And so I was doing some showings this morning in the Woodlands, and even though it's supposed to be in the high 90s this afternoon, there was a light breeze, it was shaded, it was cool, it was still very nice. If you have a pool, outdoor covered patio, the summer's here, just wear short sleeves and shorts, be prepared for a light sweat, but it is bearable, it's enjoyable. You just have to embrace it, and you have to embrace sweating if you plan on being outside in the summer here in Texas. And so whenever we move through the summer, June, July, August, all very hot. As you can see right here, you've got the average highs in the 90s. Record highs, that's very rare that it gets up over 100 for any kind of extended period of time. Usually it's at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, for an hour or two, and then it starts to taper back off into the, low 90s, high 80s into the evening. And so we don't have that cooling effect like desert environments have, where it's really hot in the day and then cools off tremendously at night. If it's really hot in the summer days here, because of the humidity, I feel like it just kind of stays pretty warm and muggy at nighttime. If it's hitting those 100-degree days, it's really still kind of high 80s at night. Now, if it's only 80, 88 degrees, 90 degrees during the day, it'll cool off at night. It's enjoyable to be out on the patio. And so really, even though you have 4 seasons here, I would say that summer kind of takes up a 5-ish month chunk of the seasons here. So just because you have 4 seasons doesn't mean they're all the same duration. So summer's probably feels like the longest here, depending on where you're coming from. And so you go to July, August, and then here's where it starts to throw me off. In my mind, you watch movies and you see September and October, which are really nice fall months in northern states or other places. And here, September always rolls around and I'm like, all right, where's the cold weather? And it just doesn't show up here. It doesn't show up in September. I'm looking at the record low for September, 45. That never happens. And so what you're gonna see is really you've gotta wait until late October to start to get your cold fronts. I always use Halloween as kind of my litmus test. Very rarely do we get it, but last year we did. We got a cold front for Halloween. It was nice. It means you can wear whatever outfit you want if you're going to a Halloween party or trick-or-treating, and you don't have to worry about sweating to death, which some years you do here in Texas. It just doesn't quite want to start cooling off until November. And so really you get your fall here late October, early November, and then December, which is typically regarded as a winter month in other places, it really is a nice fall. December here is fantastic. I mean, if you're into golf or outdoor sports or anything like that, really my favorite month of the year to golf is December. I mean, it is that sunny and 68 degrees, 65 degrees. The humidity's kind of died off, and it's lovely. And so you're still getting a fall, but it feels like it's like 10 weeks. It's going to be, late October through end of December. So about 10 weeks. And then you'll start to get those cold fronts rolling in December. You might have a week or two where it is 50 degrees. And I think the other thing too that a lot of people don't talk about, everybody hypes up the heat here in Texas. The winters here can be brutal. I mean, they can be cold. It was just a year or two ago that we had what we called snowpocalypse. Whenever they build homes here in the Houston area, they don't build them for long durations of freezing. And so Typically, the extent of damage to any kind of freezing here would be that your sprinklers burst. Everybody knows how to drain their sprinkler lines here in Texas. If you don't, we'll show you whenever you purchase your home. But overall, really freezing isn't typically a big issue here. That freeze that just happened a year or two ago was really kind of a once in my lifetime freeze where it really hit us hard. And so as far as the winter goes, the reason I think it feels colder here is because of the humidity. And so I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. If it's windy and 30 degrees here, it's not like 30 degrees when you're skiing or snowboarding in Vail, where it's sunny and 30 and it's kind of nice. You need a light jacket because it's dry. It's a deep, bone-chilling cold if it's windy and 30 degrees and kind of moist here. And so that humidity, it really changes the feel of the winters here. And it's not always like that. Luckily, the winter here kind of comes in spurts. It gets broken up. You might have 2-3 weeks of real cold weather, but overall, very bearable. We were driving a client around the other day, and it's summer here right now, and she saw my Texas edition truck, and I don't think it clicked with me until driving that client around that people don't have air-conditioned seats in their vehicles in other states. That's what the Texas edition is for, and so highly recommend having auto start on your vehicle. I know that's a privilege, but it's a privilege to prioritize. I get my car started. I don't care about the gas prices. I don't want to be sweaty. And so I get it started 3-4 minutes before I walk out the door. Everything's fine. Also, if you park in the garage, you don't have to worry too much about it. But in the summer months, if you don't have auto start and you drive a black vehicle and you park it in an open parking lot, it gets very, very, very hot. And so as we come through back to the end of the year in December, like I said, Christmas can be deceptive here. I'd say once every 8 or 10 years, we'll get a snowstorm around Christmas time here. But snow in Houston, it's very spotty. The town over might get an inch or two of snow, and then it completely misses you, at least with my luck. And so, but occasionally we'll get that. In fact, within the past 10 years, I don't remember the exact year, but Galveston actually had a snowstorm, and there was snow on the beach on Christmas Day, which was very unique. Probably will never happen again, but it was cool. So anyways, in summary, I wouldn't let the weather here scare you. Texas has always been hot, and so the amenities that these neighborhoods put in cater towards the heat. There are shaded playgrounds in a lot of these neighborhoods. Don't underestimate the tree cover. If they build parks with the trees, it cools it off, it makes it bearable. But most people aren't out exercising at 2 p.m. in July here in Texas. If you are, it's wild because it's very hot out. And so I hope that gives you a good idea. If you like this video, go ahead and check out some of our other videos. We typically don't touch on weather. We're typically talking about other suburbs, but we look forward to helping you guys. So if you are looking to move to the Houston area in the next day, week, month, or year, go ahead and give us that call, shoot us that text, or send us that email. That way we can help you guys make a smooth move right here to Houston, Texas. We'll see you guys in the next video.